Okay, in this tutorial, we are going to examine the high pressure and low pressure and the impact that they have on the weather they create. Now, you'll notice this just says describe what high and low pressure is and how it forms. You would never get asked this as an exam question, but it is very important to understand the weather that comes with pressure systems because that will be examined, and we'll look at that in later tutorials. So let's just have a little think about what is high and what is low pressure. Well, this diagram kind of illustrates what's going on. In an area of high pressure, air is sinking from higher altitudes, where the sun is, to the surface where my arrow is right now. Now, the reason it is sinking is because the air higher up is colder, and cold air sinks. And that means there's a lot more air on the surface of the Earth than there is in the higher altitudes. Now, what's the impact on the weather? Because the air is sinking, there will be very few clouds forming. Clouds form because air is rising. We'll talk more about that in a second. Therefore, in areas of high pressure, it's fair to say you're going to get little or no clouds present. Air also travels away from areas of high pressure. As you can see, the arrows, they're moving away. And it's actually moving towards an area nearby that has lower pressure. And that's why it's moving away. Because there's so much air here, it's actually moving away. Now, what does that mean? Because it's moving away, another feature of high pressure is you're likely to get very weak winds. And you would see that on a synoptic chart because the isobars would be very far apart, indicating weaker winds. But high pressure will always have weak winds or no winds at all. Third feature of high pressure, because the air is moving away, it starts to circulate in a clockwise direction. So the wind direction will be clockwise in areas of high pressure. Now let's have a look at low pressure. Now low pressure forms because on the surface, the air gets warm and it starts to rise. Now as it rises, and because it's warm, it's taking water moisture with it. And as that air rises, that water moisture condenses to form clouds higher up. So areas of low pressure will have lots of clouds present in those areas. As a consequence, they're also likely to be much wetter because clouds bring rain. A third aspect is that because wind is traveling towards areas of low pressure, and of course this is from areas of high pressure, the winds will be much stronger because the air is arriving at this location from another place. And therefore, the winds will be much stronger. And you'll see this on a synoptic weather chart because the isobars will be much close together, which indicates stronger winds. Finally, in an area of low pressure, because the winds are spiraling towards an area of low pressure, the winds will be traveling in an anti-clockwise direction. And of course, to figure out the wind's actual direction, you would need a synoptic map. And the winds, of course, always follow the isobars, or the direction of the isobars, which in this case would be anti-clockwise. High pressure, obviously, they'd be following the isobars in a clockwise direction. Okay, so these are all the key points. You might want to rewind and make a note of what are all the key weather features of high pressure and what are all the key weather features of low pressure. We'll be coming back to these points in a later tutorial.